Metacritic. Metacritic is this website where you can go to find accumulation of review scores for a certain type of entertainment, whether it be movies, TV, music, and of course, video games. So let's talk about IGN reviewing a game, for instance. When IGN reviews a game, it's one person reviewing the game, and it gives that one person's idea, that one person's score on the game. It's not really an aggregation of a bunch of different people. So what Metacritic does is take all those different reviews from a bunch of different outlets and stuff like that, and it pushes them all together, mushes them all up, and then it gives you one Metacritic score. So there's this little game that came out, you may have heard of it. It's called The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And it's been lighting up the Metacritic scoreboards pretty much. It's holding a 97% right now, and it's in like the top, I think it's like the top 5 of all time or the top 10 of all time at this point. I know it did drop a little bit, but it's still sitting at a pretty respectable 97. Edge Magazine, 100. Forbes, 100. Cheat Code Central, I didn't even know that was still around. I used that way back in the dial-up days, but that still got 100. Giant Bomb, 100. Polygon, 100. GameSpot, 100. IGN, 100. 100. 100. 100. So my question today is, does this game really deserve the score of a 97? Does it deserve all this praise? Does it deserve to get hundreds across the board? Because in all honesty, what is a perfect game? And can there be such thing as a perfect game? Video games are a form of art, and with any interpretive form of entertainment, it's very, very, very rare, if not impossible, that everyone agrees on what is good and bad art or what is a good and bad video game. Is it really possible to get a perfect score for a video game? Is it really possible to get a perfect score for a movie? I don't know. That's not for me to judge, but I do want to bring up a few points. So the first way we can look at the score is that the Zelda series is a very, very long-running franchise. It's over 30 years old, I think, at this point. And naturally, you're going to compare it to other games in the series, many of which did receive perfect scores. Whether they deserved it or not, that's a different topic for a different day. I don't even want to get into that. If we're going to derive our scores based solely on that, looking back at older Zelda games and how this stacks up against other Zelda games, then hail motherfucking yes, this game deserves a perfect 10. It is definitely I would say at this point, I'm about 50 hours in, this is definitely the best Zelda game I've ever played, and it keeps on going. I never really felt a Zelda game have this much impact in the industry. The last Zelda game that had an impact in the industry the way this Zelda game does is probably Ocarina of Time, when games were moving over to the 3D and there was just huge, beautiful open world. You felt like you could go anywhere in, even if it really wasn't like that. But for the time, the game was revolutionary. And even back further than that, I would say Link to the Past and, even the original Zelda, you could argue. For me personally, the whole 0 to 10 rating system for entertainment is kind of stupid and pointless to begin with, because again, everyone's got different tastes. No one is going to agree on everything. And to award a game a perfect score would mean that 100% of people that play the game are going to like it, but this is real life. That's never going to happen. So with my way of thinking, it would be very difficult for me to award a game a perfect 100% score, because honestly, I don't think a perfect game exists. I don't think a perfect game has ever existed. For me, there's just too many variables. There's too many different things that you can take into account. Oh yeah, but the game didn't have this, or the game didn't have that, or this game was lacking this from another game. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect game. Although I don't think necessarily 10s mean the game is quote-unquote perfect. It's just really, really, really fucking good for the time and date that it came out. So now we got to talk about Breath of the Wild itself. I've played roughly 50 hours of it. It's a very, very, very good game. Don't get me wrong. It's 100% one of the best games I've ever played. Is it perfect? I can't say so. Granted, it's a lot of nitpicky things that I don't like. The item menu could be a little more streamlined. There are frame rate stutters from here and there. I mean, everything you've heard before. I've heard a lot of people saying that they don't like the controller layout. I don't have an issue with it. I've never really thought, oh, I wish this controlled differently. I've never even given it a thought. So thumbs up there. But if you look at all the things that the game does correct and just absolutely nails, the seemingly alive world, everyone's interacting with each other, everyone has a schedule, they go to bed at this time, they wake up at this time, and then go to work or something. These beautiful landmarks on the horizon where they almost act as your compass sometimes, and you never really feel lost, even though this world is absolutely massive. You have some crafting, you have the clothing, horseback riding, Nothing really seems to be overlooked, yet I just can't come across any glitch in this game, which is honestly, for an open world game, that's fucking amazing. I can't believe it. Especially with the fact that you can climb up anything, you can paraglide from anywhere in the map. It's just if there's one thing that blows my mind about this game, is that because I have never came across an open world game that was just not glitchy at all. I mean, it doesn't happen. They're getting better. Open world games are getting better, but they're just not as polished. I think time and where the industry is at and where we are at as a society also goes into, believe it or not, the review score. Think about it this way. If Ocarina of Time came out today, same graphics, same story, same everything, same world, I don't think you would rate it a 10. I don't think you would come anywhere close to rating it a 10, maybe a 7, 7.5, 8. But for the time, the game was groundbreaking. The graphics, the characters, the world, the enemy, everything about the game just was so pure for the time, for the game, for the industry. Now in 2017, Breath of the Wild comes out. Superior, far superior game to Ocarina of Time. But Ocarina of Time is still hailed as one of the greatest games of all time, even though this game is much more superior. I mean, Breath of the Wild has everything. It has every race in there. You can explore. You can go on for miles. You don't need to listen to anybody. You can go make your own adventure. That's what Zelda was always meant to be. This game, I think, is almost damn near perfect for the time it came out in. Are we going to look back at it in 10, 15 years and still think, yes, that game is 100% perfect? No, because the industry is going to change a lot. Maybe there's going to be virtual reality as a standard now, and people are going to look back and like, wow, you had to play that game on a TV? That fucking sucks. So back to my main question of this whole fucking video. Does Breath of the Wild deserve a 10 out of 10? Well, yes and no. It all depends on how you look at it. If you're going to compare it to the rest of the Zelda games in the franchise and look at them for face value, I say 100% yes, this game deserves a 10. It's absolutely amazing. If I can award it an 11, I would award it an 11. If I'm going to look at it from an artistic standpoint, and no game's perfect, no art is perfect, everyone has different tastes, not 100% of people are going to like this, so how could you give it a perfect score? Then no, obviously you can't award the game a 10. It's just not going to happen. Not everyone's going to agree with it. In that case, I would still rate it a very, very high 8 or 9, obviously, more 9.5. Which is really something, because I guarantee probably 95, maybe 90% of people who play this game are going to enjoy it in some way and say, yeah, that's a good game. It's not a bad game. Again, if we look at it from time period, I think this game, again, yeah, it deserves a 10 out of 10 for 2017 video games. It's probably going to be nominated. I don't know if it's going to win or not, but it's going to be nominated for Game of the Year across the board. And I think the most important thing that it does is it puts other open world developers on notice. It tells them, this is how you make an open world game. It doesn't need to be a glitchy mess. It doesn't need to be a fetch quest. It doesn't need to be this huge map with nothing but icons where you need to run to here and do this and be hand-holdy, but at the same time letting you do your own thing. It's just every design choice was made intentionally, and I think a lot of other developers need to take note, because, I mean, what they're doing, they're on the right track for more immersive, open games with the technology that we have now today. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Do you really think Zelda deserves the perfect scores that it's getting? Do you think it maybe doesn't deserve perfect scores that it's getting? It's getting praise everywhere. Do you guys agree with that? Let me know what you think about it. Comment down below. I'd love to have a discussion with you. Keep it tuned right here. I will have more stuff coming up, and I've got some news for you later this week. If you guys did like this video, I'd love you to share it with some friends, get it around, comment, like it, subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Take it easy, guys.